Welcome back to Copper Star Precision, the channel dedicated to getting you more points at your competitive shooting matches. I know I'm a little bit late to the party, but there's been a lot of requests for Ruger content on this channel, so here is the October NRL22 Coursifier with the Ruger Precision Rimfire rifle in base class. As you can see, I pulled off a 7th place here. Not my best showing, I definitely ran into some problems, but let's see what we can learn from the Coursifier. First up, we have a club stage. This was called Twilight Zone KYL. So instead of a normal KYL all in the same rack with targets of decreasing size, these were 5 1-inch targets at various distances. So they get smaller relative as they go along, even though the actual target size is all the same. I had to take a position on the spool here, engage the 5 targets near to far, and then near to far again. Because this is a club stage, I decided to get some tripod practice in. Normally you can't use the tripod as rear support unless dictated by the course of fire on the NRL stages, but here I decided to give it a try. Only ended up scoring a 3 out of 10 on here. Pretty challenging stage, and we're dealing with lots of shifty winds and strong winds, uncharacteristics for this early in the morning. Wow. Thank you. Alrighty. Next up is the Curse of the Pyramid, and it definitely was cursed because I ended up getting a 0 on this stage. Prior to the stage, I was attaching the flat bag to the front of my rifle, and I left it propped on the bag, but the Arca clamp wasn't fully connected. I had misaligned it, so the rifle actually tipped over onto the ground, hit the scope, and threw off my 0. So I had no chance of really doing well on this stage. And essentially, I was lucky enough that after this stage, the zeroing range was still open with the 0 target at 50 yards, so I was able to adjust it. And I did notice that my 0 was off quite a bit, about a mil left and a mil high. So I was able to get it fixed for the next stage, but this stage was just a pain.
My off left.
I think you're right, yeah.
Wow.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I can't get it straight.
Where are these going? What on earth?
This 10 seconds.
What the heck?
You ready?
Next up is the stage final countdown, 4 targets, 1 shot, 2 shot, 3 shot, 4 shots at the far target. Luckily, like I said, I was able to get that 0 redialed in and recalibrated. I'm definitely going to have to go home, take the scope off, and torque everything down to spec after this match. But at least I was able to salvage something from this match. And essentially did really well into the last far target. I think there was some gusting winds. They were past the berm. It was really hard to pick up on. And, of course, we're shooting over the berm, so it's hard to really see your misses and correct off of that. So ended up with a 7 out of 10, only really missing on that last target with the high winds. Next up is a very creative club stage called Hunting Season. This stage was actually more in the style of the NRL Hunter matches, and essentially it was a 4-minute stage. However, the targets were of unknown distance and unknown size, so essentially we had 4 minutes to range the targets ourselves and then engage those targets with 2 shots each, near to far. So what you can see, and I've fast forwarded through the bit where I'm using some laser rangefinders that I borrowed from a squad mate. I'm trying to find and laze the distances for all 5 targets. I'm writing those down. So I spend about 2 minutes doing that, and then I spend 2 minutes engaging the stage. So I kind of try to break it up in 2 minutes to find the targets and laze them, and then 2 minutes as a normal stage to engage. So essentially you'll see me pausing in between shots and looking down. I'm actually dialing the distances that I wrote down into my Kestrel, and then dialing that solution into the scope, and then engaging the targets, making sure to really follow my shots, and definitely pay attention on this stage of how I try and make corrections based off of what I'm seeing through the scope.
Get back.
Next up is Pan's Labyrinth. This was the 55-gallon drum stage. Essentially, there was 4 different targets with a designated shooting order, right, left, far, and then middle. So I had to keep track of the targets. I am using holdovers here because there wasn't enough time to dial, and as always, when I'm on the 55-gallon drum, trying to use my 2 points of contact, which means bipod in the front, rear bag in the rear, just makes for a much more stable platform. Was able to walk away with 8 out of 10 on this stage.
Just don't do anything. Get back. Get back. Get back. Shooter ready. Stand by. Get back. Get back.
Oh,
That's great.
Yeah.
Now we're both standing with pink.
Next we have Tank Trap Terror. This is a pretty straightforward tank trap stage. 3 shots from 4 positions, so all the tips and the center of the tank trap. And what you'll see me actually doing for the near target is holding under. Because the far targets were relatively smaller and more difficult to hit, I ended up dialing for them. There's also 2 of them at the far target, only 1 near target. So I ended up dialing for the far target, and you'll see me holding under about, I think it's a mil, for the near target. So that's why my crosshairs are actually lower than the target. I was able to walk away with 9 out of 12 on this stage.
Oh boy, that's a little bit.
It looked like it was a whip.
Thanks. All right, ready.
Next up is another club stage. This was off of the ladder. Essentially, there were 5 different distances, 2 targets at each distance. The trick here was that you had to change positions after you made 3 impacts. So even though there's only 2 targets at each position, you had to move after your 3rd hit. So a little bit tricky to keep track of. You'll see me just dialing for each of the targets. The ranges were pretty far out there, but generous target sizes, 5-6 inch plates. So you'll see me, after I hit 3 is when you move to the next ladder rung and then continue with the stage. Ended up with a 9 out of 10 on this one.
This is a confusing stage. Now move.
Re-engage. Impact. Move.
Well, I'm done now.
Last up is the NRL stage, the Enfield Monster. This was 4 shots from prone left of the tripod, 2 shots on the tripod, and then 4 shots prone right of the tripod, but from the support side. Been practicing support side a lot. It seems to be coming up more and more in these matches. I was able to walk away with a 9 out of 10, just missed 1 shot off the tripod. I wasn't as stable as I thought I was and kind of pulled the shot. But overall, 9 out of 10, happy with that on this stage. that about wraps it up for the October Course of Fire with Ruger in base class. And basically, because I bumped the scope, I will have to go home, take the scope off, retorque everything, and make sure it's ready for the next match. But I will have base class footage with the Ruger for the November Course of Fire coming out as well. And don't forget, we're going to have the Course of Fire for December. We'll have all the strategy videos coming out soon. So thanks for sticking around. If you haven't subscribed, do so already. And I'll see you in the next one. And until then, score more points.